Hi, my name is Amber Henderson and I'm one of the rainforest biologists here at Moody Gardens located in Galveston Island, Texas. Moody Gardens is excited to participate in DeSTEMber, 31 days of STEM fun for the whole family. DeSTEMber was created by Girlstart and includes hands-on activities and videos like this one to promote STEM fun. You can participate online at DeSTEMber.org. Today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about our giant Amazon river otters. The giant river otter primary habitat is South America. These guys are found in and around the Amazon. They're usually near lakes and rivers. In the wild, they spend the bulk of their lives in the water, which is why when you look at their unique anatomy, they are built for an aquatic lifestyle. When you look at a giant otter, you'll notice that their feet are webbed. That's because these guys do spend the bulk of their lives in the water. That's also where they catch their prey, which is why they have those sharp claws and teeth as well. Otters are excellent hunters. Their whiskers help them to acquire prey. They can detect fish movement underneath the water. They also have excellent eyesight, so they can see fish underneath the water. Giant river otters are considered piscivorous, which means their diet consists primarily of fish. Other otter species have a more varied diet, which will consist of crabs and mollusks and other items. Giant river otters are literally giant. They are one of the largest otter species in the world. They can attain lengths of up to 6 feet from the tip of their nose to the tip of the tail, and they can weigh anywhere from 60 to 70 pounds. Typically, female giant otters are smaller than their male counterparts. Otter fur is considered waterproof. It's very dense in order to help keep the water off so that their body temperatures always stay constant, and it's usually brown in coloration. Giant river otters have unique throat patches. It's a way to identify each individual. Some even have a lack thereof. Giant river otters are diurnal, which means they are most active during the daytime hours, and they spend the night hours sleeping. With that being said, because these animals are so active, they will take periodic naps throughout the day. The giant otter life cycle usually consists of play and then sleep, play and then sleep again. Giant river otters are considered one of the most vocal species of otters in the world. They have several different distinct calls that they'll make. They'll make different calls for when they're curious, when they're hungry, when they're excited, when they're angry. They have a multitude of different noises that they'll make. What's interesting is a lot of the time, the general public hears these sounds and thinks that they're aggressive, but most of the time they are not. It's just that they are such a loud vocal species that their vocalizations are misinterpreted. Giant river otters are commonly referred to by natives of South America as Lobos del Rio, which translates to river wolves. That's because when these guys are seen hunting in the wild, they closely resemble a pack of wolves. Our 3 giant river otters are named Cruella, Drusilla, and Yzma. The 2 females, Yzma and Drew, are 3 years old, and Ella is 4 years old, which means they are considered adults in size. Our girls came to us from another facility when they were 1 year old. Here at Moody Gardens, we have to keep these guys separated. That's because their natural social hierarchy consists of a dominant mating pair. So because of that, once our girls reached maturity, they were battling with one another for that position. Although it is important, because they are such vocal animals, for them to be able to see one another and constantly be in communication. So when they're in their holding rooms, they are able to do that. They reside here at Moody Gardens in our rainforest pyramid. Their exhibit is housed in a naturalistic setting where they have natural flowing waterfalls and pools. Here at Moody Gardens, a lot goes into caring for our giant river otters. Every single day we have to make sure that their exhibit and holding rooms are clean and pristine. With that being said, we have to use disinfectants every single day, and we also put a lot of time and effort into their enrichment, training, and their food prep. We feed our otters at various intervals. We try to keep their life as non-consistent as possible So we have no set food times, we just feed them at different intervals every single day. That closely mimics what would happen in the wild. They don't get a fish at a specific time. They have to hunt and acquire their food naturally. A morning for an otter keeper looks a little something like this. You'll come in and you'll decide what they're going to get that day, and then you will decide how much. That varies by the day because these are such dynamic animals. Today they got 2 kilograms of trout and tilapia. So when we first come in the morning, we have buckets that we use to weigh out the fish amounts. Once we're done with that and we've thawed out their food, we give each girl a vitamin every single day. And in the meantime, we're usually outside cleaning the yard. When we clean the yard, we have to make sure that their old toys from the day before are pulled, that any foreign items are not in the exhibit with them. We have to make sure that their hot wire is adjusted properly, because these animals actually can climb, even though their bodies don't look like it. Keeping giant river otters is no easy task. There's a lot of details in note-taking in our day. If you were to walk into our holding areas, you would see several different boards. Each one has notes from every single day. We'll note their hot wire levels, the chlorine in their pools, which girl went out at which time. We'll also record things like how much food we fed them, what they received, who's shedding and who's oily, which is what happens when they go through their hormonal cycles. And we also are in constant communication with one another to make sure that we always stay on top of what's going on with our giant otters. For example, if we notice one is acting weird one day, we'll make sure to not only tell our supervisors, but we'll also communicate that to the keepers who will be coming behind us. That way we know that everyone is on the same page, because when dealing with giant river otters, there's no rock that can be left unturned. Here at Moody Gardens, we have a strong focus on enrichment and operant conditioning, not just with our otters, but all of our animals. With our otters in specific, our enrichment serves one sole purpose: to promote natural behaviors. So some days we'll put animal scents in their exhibits, some days we'll put puzzle feeders in their exhibits, some days we'll put vocal sounds of other animals, and sometimes we'll even bring macaws into a training platform so that they can see other species of animals. Now, all of these different things promote different activities. When we give them a puzzle feeder, we're trying to encourage foraging. When we give them the ability to smell other animals, that actually promotes curiosity. When they visually get to see other animals, the same thing. They get to see species that they might encounter in the wild. Otters are also very playful animals, so we always make sure to include fun things in their enrichment as well, like floating platforms and balls. Otters love to play all day, every day, so we do everything that we can to promote that behavior. We also have a strong focus on operant conditioning. What that means in a nutshell is that it's a way to gain access to an animal through a positive mutualistic relationship. So our otters have a number of behaviors that they will perform in order for us to be able to do typical husbandry duties. For example, our otters are trained to get onto a scale on cue. When they perform that behavior successfully, they are rewarded with a fish. They are also taught to stay at their own individual station. Usually that consists of a color or a shape, and all it means is when I have this here and I ask you to go to it, you stay there until I bridge you or let you know that you are free to go. Now, why might we do something like that? Well, there was a time when our girls were housed together. And like I said, these animals are very dynamic animals. It's really hard to try and get food to 3 different otters that are really, really hungry and want all their food. So if you ask them to go to their specific station, once they go there, you can reward them with an item, and you can keep each individual otter at their own separate station. Another purpose of the station is, like I said, otters love to move. They move all day, every day. So let's say you thought you saw a scratch on one of them. Well, you can't just look at them and say, "Will you please hold still for a second?" They're not really going to listen to that. So you'll hold up their station, you'll ask them to go to it, and when they do, they'll be staying still for that moment, and you can get a closer look at the animal. We also have recalls that we will use in order to tell the animal, "Respond to where I'm calling you to come." That can be a whistle blast or just simply saying their name, and all that really means is come to where you've been called, kind of like when you call your dog at home. All of these things are examples of operant conditioning. We reward the animals usually with something that they really like a favorite toy or a food item. They all learn at different rates, but Miss Drusilla is known for always being 2 steps ahead of her keepers. She's incredibly smart and catches on to everything way too quickly. I like to call her too smart for her own good. The giant river otter is listed by CITES and IUCN as a critically endangered species. Critically endangered, in its most simplest term, means that there just simply is not very many of them left in the wild. There are many reasons that the giant river otter is considered a critically endangered species. One of the most pressing is habitat loss, and right behind that is hunting for their pelts. Moody Gardens is a proud member of Association of Zoos and Aquariums. As a member of AZA, our giant river otters are part of the species survival plan. It's one person's job to designate which otter goes where and to breed with which individual. That way we make sure that their genetic pool is always diverse. That helps us conserve this species in the wild. We are lucky enough to be one of 6 facilities that houses the giant river otter. Throughout our day, we do different talks about different species of animals. Here in the rainforest, every single day at 2:30, you can come meet me, and we will talk about giant river otters. Within that time, I usually talk about our daily husbandry, our training, our enrichment, and everything you'd ever want to know about a giant river otter. We love to include facts about their conservation because they are a critically endangered species, and we're one of only 6 facilities lucky enough to house the giant river otter. I feel very lucky to be able to refer to myself as one of the otter keepers here at Moody Gardens. The best part of my day is being able to work with such dynamic and intelligent animals. They're constantly testing me and keeping me on my toes. There's never a dull moment in the giant otter world. I hope you've enjoyed learning about our giant river otters this DeSTEMber. If you have any questions, you can email us at education@moodygardens.org or send a letter to Moody Gardens, Education Department, 1 Hope Boulevard, Galveston, Texas, 77554.